So again, according to their corporate website, Jim Lee is officially the chief creative officer, publisher, and president of DC Publishing.
Okay, but is there other people that have that title too? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's, because at one point there was a couple people who held the same title, even though it was singular. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I'm looking at the organizational chart of DC Comics right now.
Right.
Of DC, Warner, whatever. Okay. So president, publisher, chief creative officer. Will continue to report to Pam Lifford, who is the president of Global Brands. And it's saying that essentially what it was like the CCO position was Jeff Johns.
Okay.
The publisher position was Dan DiDio. When Jeff Johns and Dan DiDio respectively left those positions, they just didn't exist. And then last year, it was May of last year, where they officially gave Jim Lee those titles.
Okay. Gotcha. I get a little hazy on who's running stuff.
Right. And again, that's publishing and, so on and so forth. Like, Jimmy Pistol and Peter Safran are studios. And, then there's all your higher Warner Brothers Discovery people that go up the chain all the way to Phil's friend David Zaslav, who I don't know if they're friends anymore, but...
What? But you kids today and your Phil, friends of Phil.
Phil on TV this week said there's people out there that have Phil derangement syndrome.
Oh, sounds like somebody I know in comics. Somebody I know.
Phil is quite the character.
Oh. I'm glad you're keeping tabs,
Listen, the tabs keep me. How about that?
That is true.
Yeah.
I know the style,
Yes. You have a couple people that they come and report to you on,
Mm-hmm. Mine aren't as famous, but
fame is relative, nebulous,
It's true. More like infamous.
Right.
You're more famous than famous. You're so famous, you're infamous.
Right. Cardiff could walk into any bar in Minnesota, his hometown, and not be recognized, but he walks into a comedy club in Rochester, New York, and he's the Duke of Rochester, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but I know it shatters your world when Cardiff comes into things that are, not Cardiff related, and it makes
it's when Dabbleverse people show up discussing like wrestling or comic books or like different things like that. Like, obviously, like all the Dabbleverse people all are there because of, WATP, Stuttering John, and that sort of thing. But to like get it so like boiled ancillarily down, like I wore my Cardiff shirt to not this LVAC show, but the one before. And one of the staff people came over to me and start talking, Dabbleverse stuff to me, right? I'm going out, like when I go to a Dabbleverse thing, I wear a wrestling shirt to try to weed out the wrestling people. But when I wore the Cardiff shirt to like AEW, nobody said nothing. I wear it to LVAC and I got one guy. And again, it obviously is a much smaller sample size, but it still trips me out when those worlds cross,
Right, yep. Yeah. So if you ever went to a comic convention, what shirt would you wear? Would you wear a comic shirt or a Dabbleverse shirt?
Maybe a wrestling shirt. I would probably wear, if like my shirt that I typically wear for things, my uniform is the Core shirt.
Ah, my DC Bullet. Got it.
Yes.
I remembered that your thing was the core jacket, so I'm proud of myself.
Yes. The bounty's still out there on it.
I'm going to collect someday.
And I don't know. I feel comfortable talking about it here, right?
Okay.
Again, I don't look at the numbers, but like stuff that we talk about on this show doesn't make it back to like other people, right?
Right.
So I'd mentioned it in passing in the Discord. Patreon.com/longboxheroes. Sign up any level, and you'll get an invite to the Discord, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday morning, I wake up to a message from a message from a guy I probably haven't talked to in 20 years, right?
Okay.
And it's a guy that I used to go to all the ECW shows in Philly. He lived in Virginia. I would drive, and he would drive up from Virginia. We would meet, and like we would, hey, like we just met at the shows. We hung out, him and his brother, whatever it was. And he is currently in Bangkok. I didn't ask questions why. But he was at an independent wrestling show that Mantis was wrestling on.
Oh, my God.
Right. So he sends me the picture of Mantis just in the ring. And I'm like, when is this from? And he's like, right now. He goes, I'm in Bangkok at this IWA Japan show. And Mantis is wrestling. They just shot an angle where he came out and stole their world title, right?
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God, right? That's crazy. So we're just going back and forth, and he sends me a video of Mantis's entrance, and he's like sending me all the pictures of stuff and everything else like that. And like, it's pretty cool. Like, he remembered and I remembered, and I'm like, why did we lose touch?
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned, I think, before we started recording, saying, don't get me started on Facebook. Right. And he had messaged me through Facebook Messenger. So I went and I clicked on his profile. And then I remembered why we had lost touch.
Ah, okay.
I would say that we probably lost touch more so in the last... When did Obama become president? 2008. So since 2008, right?
I thought you were going to say January 6th, but anyway.
Well, I didn't go that far back into his recent Facebook posts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like pure, unadulterated, like it was like China White of that sort of thing, right?
Unstepped on.
I went to and whatever. I went to a person's surprise 30th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
The day after the shooting.
Okay.
And what initially had started out as a surprise 30th birthday party very quickly became a rally.
Oh my goodness.
And luckily I had an excuse to get out of it. That was the day that I'm like, I got to drive April to the airport in Philly so she could go fly down to see her father in Florida. So we're going to cut out now.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to say one night in Bangkok and the world's Mantis's oyster. That's all I wanted to say.
Because when we were doing, was it the Patreon show last week? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon show or whatever it was, the last time that we were doing something, and we were talking about whatever the local music fest that's coming up that our mutual friend, one half of the Mean Twins, is playing at.
Right, yeah.
I went and I sent the message to Mantis, and, it's not like he gets back in touch with me and with any sort of relative quickness, right?
Right.
But little did I know, when I had sent him the message at that time, he was probably on a flight to Bangkok.
Right. Because it's definitely him. He wouldn't rent out the mask, right?
No. So
that's
when
sacred?
They did a bit at the LVAC show where there was an imposter dressed as him.
Mm-hmm.
But people were very able to, because even though he's vegan, Mantis is on that special vegan chicken and rice diet.
Gotcha.
And Mantis has a nice, thick, deep, leathery tan.
Right.
And from the Root Beer Wrestling show that we did like 3 years ago, where he thought it would be a good idea to get slashed for real in the stomach by Nightmare Freddy.
Flaps in or flaps out?
Flaps in.
Okay.
Mantis got sliced in the stomach, so he still has 4 nightmare Freddy claw mark scars on his stomach that are unmistakable.
Gotcha. Listen, can you get a replica Mantis mask?
Yeah, I probably could.
All right. I don't want to give it away here, but I may start doing Navy SEALs appearances as Mantis. The puffiest, palest Mantis you've ever seen, Joe.
Would you be? So again, you say Navy SEALs is the inside joke for us to make it. You're going to be Ultramantis Black too,
right? Ultramantis Black T-shirt with a pocket.
There you go. Mantis would not be above the franchise opportunity,
right? He could be which I always think Kiss is going to do, but I think Mantis can do it first.
Right, Mantis will do it on a much smaller scale.
Right, I'm gonna lease you the Bangkok Mantis. You're gonna be the Lehigh Valley Mantis. You're gonna be the West Coast. Not too many, but just enough,
Right, Mantis is essentially going to be the independent wrestling equivalent today of Blippi. If you're aware of who Blippi is,
I don't know what a Blippi is. That sounds like a different regional name for a hoagie.
You're very close.
Right.
Blippi is a YouTube clown for babies.
Okay.
He wears nerd glasses and a bright orange and blue outfit. And he acts like he's a man and he acts like a child. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and he's full of bewilderment and bewonderment. Oh my goodness, look, we're at an ice cream store or we're at a hockey rink or whatever it is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, as Blippi was hitting, Asa was just right at that age to miss Blippi.
Oh no.
There's a bunch of things like that where, we see them coming up with the younger kids. We have nieces and nephews that are younger than Asa. And then they get just Blippi is the example, but they had their Blippi phase or whatever it was. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thank God we missed that with Asa. Right. We were months off of getting hit by Blippi, So Blippi, YouTube sensation, he hits, he has his controversy because, all these people that are on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook Shorts, or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just looking to find a niche, a thing, right?
Right.
So there was a pre-Blippi, and we'll get back to Blippi and how this all relates to Ultramantis Black, I promise.
You promise.
I promise. So there was a video before Blippi became Blippi. Whoever the actor is who plays Blippi, right? He had some sort of other video that he did that he tried to get to go viral, that have that viral hit to whatever. And I don't know if you remember from years bygone, the dance and song sensation, the Harlem Shake.
Vaguely, I know of it.
Okay, that's all you need to do is know of it. Well, the hook of the pre-Blippi video was it was a Harlem Shake video where he was shitting on another guy. It was comical, pretend, over the top shit. But that was the video, right? But it's very clearly the Blippi guy. Okay. So as Blippi's hitting, people are finding that video. Blippi's powerful enough that he can get it pretty much scrubbed from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But it's out there on all your Daily Motions and, Vimeos and shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Blippi becomes a big YouTube sensation. And they start to do a Blippi live tour where Blippi's going to come to your town and do a stage show, right? And then people read the fine print on the tickets that they bought that said, essentially, the Blippi that's going to come to your town may or may not be the Blippi from the YouTube videos that you see. It may be an actor portraying Blippi.
It may be Blippi 2, like Gallagher 2.
Blippi 2, right.
Right. Blippi also, not Blippi number 2, whatever.
Right. So, again, you got Mantis, you got Gallagher, you got Blippi, you got Kiss. What do they have in common?
Right. And I just want to get my fake mask, get my gear to look just like him. Because he goes shirtless, right?
He has like a robe that he wears.
Good. Because the more I can cover
with
up.
no shirt on underneath it.
Right. And then I have to draw a claw mark on my tummy.
Yes.
And I'm going to do it. And me and Mantis are going to reenact the Spider-Man meme. And that's going to be legendary. I'm going to have to come to one of these Levac shows and do this.
Yes.
In the ring. I'm calling you out, Mantis. Me and you in the ring, Spider-Man meme. All the proceeds go to charity, and by charity I mean Toys for Tots.
All right.
So,
anything else you want to talk about?
Listen, I'm just overflowing with Blippi knowledge now. I don't think I can give you any bits of insight from my end. I think that's good.
All right. We went to the last thing that I'll mention is we went to the Wing Fling this past weekend.
Where was that at? Montage Mountain?
Swoyersville.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. You know?
Was Wings on Wings there live?
No.
Oh, my God. Missed opportunity. There's that word again.
Well, listen. Trying to get the 4, 5, or 6 of them together sometimes. It's to record 2 episodes of the podcast is enough, let alone. But anyway. It was because the barbecue place down the corner from me weren't there this weekend. They were at the Wingding thing, right? Mm-hmm. So my kid's like, I need my goddamn mac and cheese, so we're going to this, right?
Oh my God, held hostage.
So we go, and they had to, because they don't typically do wings. They did wings for this, along with their usual fare, and they had 3 other different sauces. And I was like, sons of bitches have been holding out, right? Their wings were really good. Mm-hmm. I got wings from them in 2 other places. And the actual chicken wings that they had, I have to feel either the other 2 places are making a lot of money on their, because everybody was selling their wings for the same price, right?
Right.
It was 6 wings for $9 or whatever it was, right? So either everybody was making a lot of money because their wings were kind of flimsy, mm-hmm. or everybody was hitting their profit margins, and my place that I go to happened to hit the mother load of the thickest, meatiest chicken wings I've seen in forever, right? Mm-hmm. Because you definitely know, if you go to a bar and you get the chicken wings, they're of a certain size, right?
Right.
But if you go to the grocery store or a wholesale food market, and you get them, I'm going to make them at home myself. They're always really thick. They're a lot thicker or bigger than the ones that you would get at a bar or out somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how my place, Bulldogs, were. And they had 2 other different sauces alongside their normal sauce. And I'm like, sons of bitches should be doing wings all the time because these were really good.
Right. They might be, like you said, a loss leader at the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do good. Did you ever... Because I know, you were a Scrantonian there for a while. Did you ever go down into, I forget where it's called in Scranton, and go to the Donkey for wings?
No.
But you know where I'm talking about? It's down, I can't think of it. It's Matt's yelling at me right now as he listens to this. But we used to go there all the time, and it was the dingiest, dirtiest dive bar ever. And they would give you, but, they'd be, super cheap wings, super, super cheap wings, but they were also the small, they were killing chicks apparently because they were the smallest wings you ever had, but they were really good. It'd be you had the wing, or what you call it, the flat, as the kids call it.
A flat or a drum.
Right. You get the flat, and it would just be you could puncture your tongue through it, and you ate all the meat in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? But they were really good.
You eat them like the people that tie the cherry stem with their tongue.
You put it in your mouth and you just strip all the meat off it with both the drum and the flat. But they were really good, and they were small. But then I would go to the Windsor Inn.
Right. The Windsor I know. The Windsor I've been to.
And the Windsor, you would get wings that were the size of your fist.
Yeah.
And it was these are 2 different worlds. But they're both equally good. The thing with the big wings at Windsor, they were real juicy. You know what I mean? there's so much meat. But then you would go to like the donkey, and the crispiness of it were two different things. But I used to love wings when they were cheap. We used to go, me and a couple people, we used to do like all the different wing nights that we would go. But like it very rarely is wing nights now. Like Kelly's, we used to go for wing night, all the places. And they would be like a quarter or like whatever. Now at the cheapest on a wing night, because I've been to the Windsor during happy hour or football games, 70, 75 cents, something like that for a wing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a good deal around here now, because it's more than it's like $15 for a dozen of wings, and I'm like, there's no meat on this. Give me a steak for $15. You know what I mean? So, but man, I miss cheap wings.
Well, like I said, that's why I said like literally every place was 6 wings for $9.
Right. Yeah, that's still crazy to me. But
yeah. But I wanted to try some stuff, I'm good spending my money on food.
Oh, I'll always spend money on food.
Yep. Boys got to eat,
That is true.
All right. And you can help us eat by signing up for the Patreon. I'll mention it one last time to close out the show. Longboxheroes.com or patreon.com/longboxheroes. You can get there from longboxheroes.com too. But $1 a month, $5 a month. You get this show early at $5 a month. You get the 2 bonus shows. You get the scans of the previews. I already have August's uploaded. I just haven't published it yet. I had some rare downtime, which is fleeting.
Right.
But I'm like, let me just get this uploaded, and I'll look through it and then write it up or whatever, Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it. This was After Dark 506. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week. Thanks for your support. Tell a friend. All that sort of jazz. Bye.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.